I have to tell you something. Sorry, I need to tell you something. A secret about a place where I live. Just around the corner, actually. It has taken me 2 years to finally tell you this. You do not have to believe me. I understand that it may sound crazy. All I know is that I will never go there again. Not at the night, anyway. For I have experienced what lies within those endless trees. I was 14. I had heard rumors about the woods, and my mother had told me to never go in there, not even in the daylight. She told me it was dangerous. I used to always defy my mother, so I went in there with a couple of friends one night. The walk there was fine. I was eager to go see these so-called dangerous woods. We reached our destination. My heart already began to thump against my chest. The woods looked terrifying at night. I stood horrified amongst my friends. I no longer wanted to go inside. The trees towered over us, its branches like open arms welcoming us into darkness. It was too dark to see what lied within them. Not even the moon could light up the shadows. I had an uneasy feeling about the woods, and I begged my friends that we should go home. As you might guess, this ticked them off. I had dragged them out there, and now I was backing out. It's not like me to back out of things, but I did not want to go into those woods. We argued amongst ourselves. My friends were all against me, and thus the decision was decided that we go into the woods. And so we went in. The next morning, news broke out that a group of 14-year-old boys had been butchered to death in the woods. I felt nothing for them. I told them I did not want to go into those woods. I told them I had an uneasy feeling about that place. I was scared. I remember it so clearly. The 4 of them had decided to tell ghost stories just to add to my fear. One told of a man who lived in the woods, a lover for children's flesh. He would take them from behind when they were wandering through the woods alone and would... That's when my friends decided to run off. I chased after them, trying to follow their laughter. It wasn't long before my ears had guided me into another direction and silence surrounded me. I was scared so much that I began to cry, not something that a 14-year-old boy should be doing. But I was damn scared. My eyes couldn't adjust to the light, and I was left standing in what seemed like endless black fog. This is how I pictured hell. I couldn't stop thinking about that story. I had horrible thoughts of how it ended. I was convinced it was real. Terrified, I started a slow jog through the woods. I know it sounds stupid, but sprinting just made it feel more scary. I had picked up a rather large branch that had obviously snapped off one of the trees. Not much of a weapon, but it would have to suffice. Then I tried to find my way out. It seemed like I had been running for ages. Maybe I had been running in circles. I tried turning around and running in a different direction. After maybe a few hours of running, I saw light through the trees. A street light. I gave a sigh of relief and sprinted towards the light when something grabbed hold of my shoulder. My heart stopped. I stopped breathing. My eyes were glued to the light. So close. I let out a tear. It laughed. Then 3 other laughs followed it. It was my friends. They continued to laugh and started to jeer. Out of pure anger, fear, and humiliation, I gripped onto the broken tree branch and beat all 4 of them to death. I could not see their blood, but I could smell it. I smiled. Growing up, I had plenty of books to read. Now, my family and I lived in a modified schoolhouse from a long time ago, so my house always had a creaky, creepy feel to it. There used to be 2 classrooms, one upstairs and one downstairs. The lower floor became the primary classroom after leaks had ruined the upper floor, but renovations made it a house today. Probably why a lot of kids never wanted to come over. Being an only child was, as you can guess, quite boring. Most of you who are only children will know what I mean. I could always go out and get friends, but I wasn't very good at talking. So, my parents thought that books would be a good way for me to kill my time. I was only 6 when they brought me a whole bunch of books from my childhood. They were those cheap, paperback kind that you could see at the bottom shelf of most bookstores, with bright illustrations of kids riding bikes or dragons or having adventures with their friends while finding lost treasures. There were so many, I wasn't able to finish all of them. In our basement, we had a row of wooden cabinets below a countertop against the wall. In one of these cabinets is where I kept my vast collection of books. I was able to read them after school every day, and still, they took my 6-year-old mind a while to go through. Nevertheless, I loved it with a passion anyway. Eventually, I just lost interest. My parents had gotten me one of those new video game consoles, and of course, a bright screen outweighed boring paper any day. That cabinet just slipped my mind from then on. I never opened it again. Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months, and months turned to years. After finishing high school, it was time for college. Summer went by quick, and I leave for the university tomorrow. I had finished packing all my bags, and my parents had just gone to bed. My car was ready for the 8-hour drive tomorrow morning, and so I would have to go to bed early tonight. I walked down the stairs to my room, after getting a sobbing hug from my mother and an awkward one from my father. I carried my backpack down with me, keeping it open as I trotted downward. As I shuffled contents about, a bottle of water fell from the side of my bag and rolled down the steps. Going down after it, I heard it hit the bottom. I flicked on the lights and saw it against the wall. Walking over, I picked it up. But then I paused for a moment. It had rolled into a wooden cabinet. Curiosity poked my mind as I simply swung it open, and inside, I couldn't believe what I saw. Dust everywhere. Coughing, I waved my hand around to get rid of the thick clouds from the door's motion. After settling, I saw the outlines of what I had gathered on. Naturally, I ran my index finger on the dusty surface, leaving a long line of